The first half of my freshman season here at Duke, we've been balling. We're off to a 5-1 start and we could potentially take over the ACC. We got Virginia this week on the road and they're 4-2 currently, so this will not be a walk in the park dub. These boys coming to play. And one thing I've noticed, once you get into conference and divisional play, these teams, even some of the worser teams in the conference or the division, their execution goes to another level. And I mean, that's to be expected, but I love it. I've never experienced such an intense, emotion-driven environment like this. And winning big games, we have to step up and perform. If we fold on the road against someone who seemed to be a lesser opponent, it can make us look weak and it can shatter our team's confidence, and I can't let that happen. And this isn't a top 5 or even a top 25 team matchup. When I say big game, I just mean us being on the road against a pretty decent team in a packed out stadium. This is a big game for us. And currently our strength of schedule isn't even crazy, but as we get better over the coming years, those teams on that schedule are going to get a lot better and these are going to be a lot tougher games. We're in a close one. Just over a minute left in the fourth quarter here against Virginia. I fall 1 yard short of the end zone. But even with me bent over, dead tired, gasping for air, I let my offensive line do all the work and somehow I find the strength and energy to celebrate the tub with my teammates. We improve our record to 6-1 and after a pretty decent day, I am player of the game. I'm putting in work constantly, even throughout the middle of the season, so if you notice that my first step is a little bit quicker than usual, don't be surprised. After securing the dub on the road against Virginia last week, we stayed within the state and we got Virginia Tech this week. And this isn't just Virginia Tech, this is number 22 ranked out of the top 25 teams in the nation, Virginia Tech. So with all things considered, yeah, our game last week was big, but this one is huge. And if I'm not mistaken, this is our first ranked opponent we've faced all season. And with Virginia Tech having a 7-0 lead on us here early in the second quarter, I won't waste no time getting into the end zone myself to tie up this game. And on that next drive, they come back with another touchdown. But my response is a big 20-yard run that wasn't all strength. It was some finesse involved with this one. Usually, we would go with the speed option. But down here in the red zone as of lately, the read option has been our bread and butter. And after scoring this touchdown and almost going untouched, I'm letting the crowd know we ain't coming to play no games. And my big play ability continues to be on full display today. This just might be my filthiest play of the season thus far. I earned all 21 yards of this reception. We're knocking at the door of the end zone, down one possession, 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and my quarterback, Jordan Moore, throws a 92-yard pick six. After a heart-wrenching loss to a very talented team and somewhat of a statement game for us at least, I put up some pretty decent stats, but it just wasn't enough to get the dub. The week before going into our game against NC State, I put in overtime in the gym, working on my acceleration, elusiveness, and my overall catching ability. See, most people believe here at Duke, our defense is the better part of our team, but being down 14 points in the first quarter to a 4-4 NC State team says otherwise. Now, I'm not saying our defense isn't good. They even show flashes of greatness at times, but that loss against Virginia Tech definitely made a negative impact on them for sure. And that negative impact is very much noticeable, especially in practice, where it's usually lit, extremely competitive and just over the edge. But as of lately, it hasn't been that. And I said this just a few games ago, a loss to a good team, especially in the way that we lost that game, would shatter our team's confidence. And I hate to say it, but I was right. And I somehow got to figure out a way to get this dark cloud from over our team. I'm not so much of a vocal leader, but what I can do is lead by example with my play on the field. But after a shaky first half, we got things all tied up here in the third quarter, and here on 3rd and 1, I break off a huge 35-yard run. I damn near took this one back to the crib. Yet another game that's going to come down to the wire. Late in the fourth quarter, Jordan Moore delivers a strike to the sideline, and we take a lead late here in this game. Usually, our defense wouldn't have a problem holding on strong and closing out games for this team, but as of lately, for obvious reasons, they just haven't been themselves. We take back-to-back L's this week against a 4-4 NC State team. If we don't bounce back to who we were at the beginning of the season, we could be in trouble. The only thing that can make this game at home against the U even better than what it is if they were ranked. We're both 6-3, and somebody has to leave here with their 4th L of the season. And losing 3 straight games in a row, 2 back-to-back at home, is just not an option. So like I said before, our defense somehow has lost their competitive edge due to the L's we've taken recently. But I made sure in practice to restore that fire in our defense, and I went over the top with it. Our starting middle linebacker, who's usually known for making big plays, big hits, whatever, he's the one who turns practice to the max. And he hasn't been himself lately. So I decided to go straight at headhunt, target the #1 trash talker and big hit on the team, and that got everybody's attention. During practice, I got the handoff, great blocks up front, plant my foot, get to the outside, easy touchdown. But instead, I planted that foot and went straight at his chest. And see me, I'm not a big talker, but I made it a point in that particular moment to talk as much trash as possible, and that's exactly what the team needed to see. And when I tell you the energy for the rest of that practice was like no other, I saw a light in this team like never before. And that restoration of energy is what led to this very moment. Under 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and we take the lead over the U. And this is one of, if not our most impressive win of the season thus far, a win over the U, a great way to bounce back from an ugly 2-week period. Playing at 240 pounds initially wasn't easy, but with the added weight, I developed a little more strength and I'm a lot more comfortable on my feet at this size. Staying within the state, we got Wake Forest this week and we're on the road in the rain. Shaking the funk that those losses put this team in is essential if we want to finish this season off the right way. And since then, I feel like everybody's play on the field has just elevated, especially my offensive line. I got great blocks across the board and it made this 40-yard run seem easy. And my offensive line, they continue to impress. I pop off for a quick but nasty 25-yard run just before the half. And I'm not gonna lie, the quarterback play during that slump was subpar, but that boy Jordan Moore has been balling. He's been delivering nothing but dots lately, man. That's my quarterback. And on 1st and 10, Jordan keeps the ball in his read option, I get tackled. That's normal, but the way I land on my back and my head bounced off the turf, there was nothing normal about it. I had to check out of the game with a mild concussion. So after marching all the way down the field, I got to sit on the sideline and watch my guys try to clutch a touchdown to send us into overtime. And with no worries in my mind or heart, they do exactly that. But if you think I'm finna let a little headache keep me from fighting with my guys in overtime against a fellow North Carolina team, you're crazy. My versatility as a back is what secures the touchdown, and we tie this game up yet again. Defense went and got a major stop. Now our offense is knocking at the door trying to secure yet another road win, and the former #1 running back on the depth chart makes it look easy walking into the end zone damn near untouched. We're sending an entire stadium full of Wake Forest fans home with their heads down because when our backs were against the wall multiple times throughout this game, we stepped up and got the job done. Throughout the season, I've been doing some light track drills, working on my overall speed, my running form, things like that, all of the above. And I've seen some minor but very noticeable differences. Even though I suffered a minor concussion last week, people thought I was going to sit out my final game of my freshman season against our rival. Yeah, no. But honestly, win or lose, this season is already deemed a success. This is probably the best record this team has had in terms of football in like the last decade. And to think we're only going to get better moving forward across the board, recruiting, players, returning players, coaching staff, you name it, everything. But one thing I won't sit here and do is act like this entire season has been all giggles and smiles. There's been a few times I had to bite my tongue throughout the year where I wanted to speak up and I couldn't. As I've stated multiple times, we run a spread offense, and even though I don't have a problem with that because our OC gets me involved as much as possible, he forgets I'm 240 pounds. 6'2", 240 pounds to be exact, but I don't mind catching the ball out of the backfield. I know I have to be able to do that to be successful at this level, but sometimes just give me the ball and let me run it down their throat. Prime example, this game right here, right now. We didn't establish the run game at all throughout this entire game. A few handoffs here and there, but nowhere near as much as we need to. And we get blew out in a game of this magnitude. Not once this entire season have we let a game get this out of control. If you ask me, we got outcoached. We take a 24-8 loss against our rival in the final game, one of 2 ranked opponents we faced all year, and we folded in both of those games. I won't be taking home any awards, but taking a look at my numbers on the ground for my freshman season, nearly 200 carries, cracked 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, I did pretty decent. And when I say we were a pass-heavy offense, this is exactly what I mean. 78 receptions, 784 yards, 6 receiving touchdowns as a running back. Those 16 touchdowns and nearly 2,000 yards earned me the right to be an All-NCAA freshman All-American. Coming into my freshman year, I had little to no goals, but going into my sophomore season, I'm hunting a conference championship, and this time next year, I will be named the NCAA first team All-American.